Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. We are going to jump right into things today because we're exploring something that sits smack in the middle of almost every single home, yet it is completely underutilized. We're looking at the core concepts from the book Power of the Table by Bolanley and Eng, and we are going to completely reframe how you look at your dining room table. Seriously, it is not just a piece of furniture made of wood or glass. It's a critical, incredibly powerful tool for fostering deep family connection. I mean, think about it. It's the place where books are written, where meals are shared, and where life-defining decisions are made.
To really grasp why this matters so much, let's look at a famous metaphor from former Coca-Cola CEO Brian Dyson. He said, imagine your life as a game where you're juggling 5 balls: work, family, health, friends, and spirit. The crucial distinction he makes is that work is a rubber ball. If you drop it, it bounces right back. But family is made of glass. If you drop it, it becomes scuffed, damaged, or even completely shattered. It will literally never be the same. This perfectly highlights the fragility of our family relationships compared to our careers. We so often pour all our energy into that rubber ball, just assuming the glass one will somehow take care of itself.
And when we do that, when we constantly prioritize the rubber ball, we end up feeling like this: I am a guest in my own home. Man, that hits hard, doesn't it? That is an actual quote from a middle-aged, working parent who suddenly realized his fast-growing kids didn't truly know him anymore. He had essentially become just the middleman between their financial needs and achieving them. He was working from the afternoon until the early hours of the morning and just completely missing them. This is a profound pain point for so many busy working parents today. We get so consumed with deadlines and the next big career move that we miss the small, quirky, everyday teaching moments. And then suddenly we feel entirely disconnected from the very people we're working so hard to support.
And look, this disconnection has very real, measurable stakes. This isn't just about warm and fuzzy feelings. A major study by CASA at Columbia University found that when teenagers have infrequent family dinners, the risks absolutely skyrocket. They are twice as likely to use tobacco, almost twice as likely to use alcohol, more likely to use marijuana, and twice as likely to report getting mostly C's or lower in school. But on the flip side, teens having 5 to 7 family dinners a week are way more likely to get A's and B's. So the table isn't just about sharing a meal, right? It's literally a protective barrier for a child's academic performance and overall well-being.
To put this into even more perspective, according to the OECD, absenteeism at school is around 15% globally on average. But for students who report they don't often share meals with their families, that truancy rate jumps to nearly 30%. They are almost 30% more likely to just skip school. It boils down to this: when families don't eat together, they simply don't grow together.
Think about the difference between a sterile, bare table, one that almost seems to scream, "do not touch," versus a beautifully inviting table that's ready for a meal. A table speaks volumes depending on how it's set. Dust gathering on a dining table? That's an indication of neglect. But a table that is set, used, and celebrated? That is the ultimate solution for connection. It actually reduces the need for heavy disciplinary consequences later on because the connection is already solidly in place. Your table is basically synonymous with your family and the relationships you're building within it.
So, how do we actually do this? How do we transform a standard piece of furniture into a genuine connection machine? Well, the author provides a really practical guide called the Together Framework.
Together is an acronym. It stands for talk, open, games, eat, traditions, help, engage, and respect. For today's explainer, we're going to break down the most critical components of this framework so you can start putting it into practice in your own home right away.
We kick things off with T, which is for talk. The table is just the perfect place to have a healthy conversation as a family about, anything. If not here, then where? Every healthy conversation, from lighthearted chat about your favorite snacks to really deep topics about the future, needs to happen safely at the table. When a child knows they're actually being heard, it makes a massive difference. Teenagers don't just wake up one day and suddenly stop talking. It's a gradual process of not being listened to that eventually shuts them down.
The table is simply the best platform to engage the whole family. Moms and dads, you are the guides here. And just being fully present acts as a daily presentation of your core values. The author actually brings up a great scene from the TV show Blue Bloods. In just a minute and a half at the family dinner table, these young boys learned about incredibly complex societal issues like segregation and policing just by listening to their grandfather, father, and uncles discuss it openly. Being fully present allows you to actively, intentionally shape your children's worldview.
Moving right along, O is for open. Everything should be laid bare at the table, where honest conversations can be held safely. We really have to foster an environment where kids feel heard without any immediate judgment. Whether you've got a 5-year-old asking a slightly awkward question or a young adult asking for relationship advice, openness is absolutely the greatest gift you can give them.
And this is vital, because ultimately, evil thrives on secrecy. Child predators, for example, rely heavily on telling victims, "Do not tell anybody." A closed family is incredibly vulnerable to those outside dangers. But a family with an open-door policy at the dinner table, they protect their children. You're just much more likely to detect if a child is being bullied or if something is amiss simply because that child feels safe enough to share.
All right, let's shift the energy up a bit. G is for games. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but how do I keep the conversation going once the food is actually gone? The answer is games. Play is the very language of children. Jokes and fun games shared at the table are this incredible tool for stretching dinner out a little longer and making sure it's an event everyone actually looks forward to.
Here's a brilliant example you can literally try tonight: the hat game. It's so simple. Everyone anonymously answers prompts on slips of paper. Things like, if you were an animal, what would you be? Or, my absolute favorite toy as a child was. And you drop them all into a hat. Then you pull them out one by one, and guess who wrote what? The author actually tested this out at a workshop with complete strangers, and by the end of it, they were laughing and hugging. Just imagine what that kind of activity does in a family setting. It breaks down walls, builds deep bonds, and creates lasting memories.
Of course, we can't forget E, which is for eat. Food acts as a natural binder for us humans. Have you ever noticed how you naturally get closer to the people you sit with at lunch in the office? Food lowers our defenses. It brings people together. Love just grows and thrives where there's the freedom and joy to simply be with another person over a good meal.
Eating together just makes everyone relaxed and engenders love. But it's not just about the emotional connection. It actually promotes healthier eating habits, too. When families eat together, this kind of monkey see, monkey do effect takes over. Picky eaters become much more likely to try new foods and eat what everyone else is eating. It transforms meals from a daily chore into a genuinely joyous occasion.
Next up, let's briefly touch on traditions, the second T in our Together framework. Traditions bring stability, joy, and a real sense of security to a home. And hey, this doesn't have to mean some grand, elaborate holiday. It can be a simple routine, like a specific Saturday morning breakfast ritual or a regular tickles time. These simple moments, when used consistently, build a secure family identity that your kids are going to carry with them forever.
This brings us to a really beautiful concept the author shares, the kitchen of life. Growing up as an African girl, the author wasn't taught to use a recipe book with precise scales. Instead, she was taught to watch, to learn, to smell the aroma, and to just know when the food was ready. Well, your children are standing in the kitchen of life watching you. They're seeing the ingredients you use to navigate the world. So you have to challenge yourself. What is your vision for your family? What kind of family are you intentionally cooking?
To cook that vision, you can start right now. First, be deliberate about meal times. Second, celebrate your time together. Remember, it's about the connection, not necessarily cooking a 5-star meal. Third, use this time to intentionally pass on your values. And fourth, this is so important. Remember that anything is something. If you can't manage a family dinner every single night, just start with what you can. A small step forward is infinitely better than no movement at all.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a provocative challenge. Can you have breakfast, lunch, or dinner together at least once a day as a family? Take a look at your unique schedule and figure out how you can make it happen. Because remember, your table is a reflection of the strength of your family today and a direct pointer to what it will look like tomorrow. So I challenge you, sit down tonight, pull up a chair, and start building that connection. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll see you next time.